All right, we are live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Whiskey Thursday. What's going on, Shayne?
Well, things are happening. The hair today, though, is a little off.
Not really happening for you today,
No,
huh?
it's not. So it's hat day today. I thought you were going to join me with that.
Yeah,
But we're really excited tonight. We've got a great episode lined up with a very special guest tonight. Kevin is here with us from Cheap Ass Leads. We can actually say that on Whiskey Thursday. So we're really excited about this. Guys, if you are, catching deer.
Catching deers.
Nice hat. Guys, if you're watching live, make sure to hashtag live. If you're watching replay, hashtag replay. Not that we check, but just something we'd like to do, a little bit of engagement. And if you're catching us from YouTube, make sure to come into the Real Estate Marketing Conversion Mastery Facebook group here on Facebook, where we're live every single Thursday. And we do this show called Whiskey Thursday. And typically what we do is we try to get our guests drunk so we can steal their secrets. And then we share them with the rest of the community. So we've got Kevin here tonight drinking some coffee. So I don't know how well that's going to work.
It's all right. It's all right. We pre-screened him ahead of time. Make sure he's still willing to be, giving away those secrets. So I think we're all good there. But yeah, if you guys are watching live, hashtag live. If you're watching replay, hashtag replay. Again, YouTube, make sure to hit the like button if you're enjoying this. Comment down below if you have questions or if you're enjoying it as well. And don't forget to hit the subscribe and the little notification bell. In the meantime, what's going on, everybody? Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know that you're here live so we can start to engage with that a little bit. And Kevin, welcome to the show, man. What's going on?
What up? What up? What's happening?
It's been a long time coming.
I think we planned this like 4 weeks ago.
Right? And when we first asked you or when you actually decided to do it?
Oh yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, the first time I was like, yeah.
You're like, I'm growing my agency.
We got a lot of shit going on, man.
I'm scaling, bro. I can't do this right now.
Yeah, well, listen, what's that?
No, sorry. I was going to say, listen, Kevin, I know you're a busy guy and we really appreciate you taking some time out tonight. You've done some really cool stuff. We're going to talk about some of that stuff that you've done. And just before we went live, I was just mentioning to Kevin how, how you and I have never spoken. However, your company name, which is called Cheap Ass Leads, is probably one of the only company names out there that I remember other than our own. And even that, sometimes it's hard to remember.
I don't know. Go grab a check or something so we can see.
Yeah.
What are we going by?
We're going to talk a little bit about that as well, and sort of your success with, growing your agency and what you've done. You've actually been quite, you've been actually a little quiet in the group, but in the past, you've been quite active inside the group, sharing a lot of information, stuff like that. You've been one of those marketers that's been around for a while, and you've had some great success over the past year, if not longer, and have really been able to scale this business. And I'm curious to know, is it because of the name?
Well, my original business is Lazy Cow Media, and that was, when I first got started, I was just trying to be memorable, right? Like, I think that people like animals, right? Especially like funny, kind of dorky animals. And so I thought, a cow, and I got a lot of really good feedback on it, like right away. And then when I made this, because we did consulting, we did one-off stuff. We really had no focus on what we were doing. So a year ago, actually to today is when I launched. Yesterday. So the 18th of last year is when I launched cheapassleads.com. And, I just realized that we needed, a separation and just one product to sell, one audience to sell to, and then scale up.
Yeah. And we're going to get into that because I think when you and I talked on the phone, there was a lot of things that I found really interesting. Number one is your offering, like how strict it is. Like, this is what we do. This is what we don't. That's it.
Yeah.
Because I shouldn't say everybody. There's a lot of people out there that are like, oh, you want to pay me? What do you want? Right. Like, here's what I can do. Here's the menu. What sounds good? Would you like an appetizer, dessert? maybe just an entree, maybe a couple starters. What are you and the missus thinking tonight, huh? So it was really interesting to hear that you were just kind of like, this is what I do, this is what I don't.
Yeah, and we used to be like that, right? So Lazy Cow Media, when I first started, I just knew how to sell. Hey, Donald, come here. So this is Donald, real quick, before he heads out. Donald does all of the ads. You're on Whiskey Thursday.
Oh, cool.
What's up, buddy?
What's going on, Donald?
Donald does,
Everybody say hi to Donald. If you're watching live, say hi to
Hashtag
Donald.
hi, Donald.
Guys, hashtag hi, Donald. Let's go.
They pay some
Donald
respect
does-
to our ads guys, right?
Yeah. So he does he keeps all the clients happy. Yeah, anyway, sorry about that. But no, like with Lazy Cow Media, we used to be super all over the board. Like we would have a business come to us and we would just, like you said, like, well, what do you want? And you want a website, you want SEO, and we just had no idea what we wanted to do. So I just kind of had this moment of clarity like a year ago and was like, damn, dude, we just need, like, we can't scale selling 1 million products. So let's just sell one.
Yeah. I mean, that's the truth of it, right? Is like, you get really good at selling one product, like you can go a long ways. You go a long ways.
Yeah.
And yet still we have so many people out there that are just like, what do you want? I can do this. I know how to do this. I kind of know how to do this. So I'll give you a discount.
Yeah, well, it's appetizing too, right? Like, I mean, it's attractive because if you're somebody who just goes off, like, I mean, that's how I started, right? I knew how to sell. I came from a sales background and I just started selling random stuff to like keep myself afloat. And you can make 50, 100 grand a year, doing that, but it's not scalable after that. And after a while, it gets kind of overwhelming and a lot of scope creep and extra work and,
Well, it's funny you say that. What did you do before this?
Yeah, so before marketing.
Before marketing, yeah.
So I sold credit card machines. So whenever you go in the States, whenever you go into a business and swipe your card, there's a fee associated with it. So merchant services, we sold payroll for ADP. And I worked for a company out of Boston where I'm from, where I was living. And literally every day, just like hit the streets, like took the train, went out to a town, knocked on every business door and just like got my teeth kicked in, but I learned how to sell in like the most aggressive market. The people are not, I don't know how much you know about Boston, but very similar to, you're in Detroit, right? So,
I'm in Detroit. I spent some time in New York.
No, there's no businesses open in Detroit.
Yeah. Well, and I worked like the tough markets. Like when I first started, they didn't want to give me good territory. So I was like walking around the hood, like, getting just like crazy situations. But anyway, so I learned how to sell. And then eventually I built up a book of, 300 plus clients. And they were, occasionally people would ask me like, hey, do you know much about Facebook ads? Like, you're a young guy. And so many people started asking me. So I started getting on YouTube and just started learning. And, it started with this little auto shop and I'm like, oh yeah, I know how to do Facebook ads. And I was like boosting posts for them, like had no idea what I was doing, but that was kind of the start. And then I hit this point where I was, not really fulfilled by that job anymore. And, the Boston weather, just like Detroit, Toronto, like it's really, really rough during the winter. And I was like, dude, fuck this, I'm out. So I just packed up all my stuff. And within 2-3 weeks, I was in San Diego, knew nobody here, just like came out here and I'm like, I'm going to figure it out. So I started going business to business, just how I had done it before. And I just started walking into businesses. Hey, you want to buy marketing? It's $500 a month. Cool. What do you do? Marketing, like I really had no plan, but it went from there to like, learning, about the Facebook ads manager and then about retargeting and then pixels and then just like, starting buying courses and mentorship programs and stuff like that. And eventually one thing led to another and I just narrowed my niche down and then narrowed the product down and, focus.
Well, and you're an Academy member. How'd you end up there? You're all over the place. How'd you end up there?
Yeah, so we decided so I had a business partner who had run a couple and sold agencies, $1 million agencies. He had done really well. And he was like, hey, we should just like, if you want to stay niche down into real estate, we should just invest in a bunch of courses and learn, what's working. So we bought yours and shortly after that, he wanted to go into the roofing space. We left on good terms. He's still like one of my really good friends and mentors, but he went off in that space. And I just felt so good about real estate, even though, real estate agents don't typically spend a whole lot of money on marketing, not like roofers, not like they're not laydowns, but
Right.
I just felt like real estate, the reason why I picked this niche was because, one, there's no gatekeepers, right? So like if you work with dentists, which is a popular one, or roofers or whatever, there's always somebody on the phone or somebody you have to get through that translates, that kills a lot of deals. But also
They kill a lot of deals. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Oh yeah, man.
Tell us a little bit more about, we haven't really covered gatekeepers in a while, or at all, maybe. I don't know. So tell us a little bit more about that, because I know, right? Because a lot of people are still looking at real estate. They might not be in the real estate space, but you're coming from, door to door. You're very familiar with gatekeepers.
Yeah. So I think that so let's just say dentists, right? Or
Right.
doctors, which a lot of people want to do marketing for them, or lawyers, right? They always have an office assistant, an office manager, somebody like that. So whether you're calling on the phone or you're trying to reach the doctor or the lawyer or whoever, you're going to hit them first because the doctor hired them to filter out all this shit, because they're getting hit up all the time. So not only do you have to convince them that this is a good product, but then you have to find a way to have them reflect that to the decision maker, the doctor, the lawyer, whatever, because you're going to call and say, hey, our pricing is this is our service. And she's going to be genuinely pumped up. And then she's going to get a phone call. And then, by the time she talks to the doctor, she's like, I don't know, some marketing guy called. Right. And then the deal just, he's going to be like, oh, tell them to go fuck themselves. Right. Like so.
Right. Some marketing guy stopped by today. Here's his card.
Yeah.
I've got to say though, this, so some of the most successful salespeople I've ever run into, recently I spoke to somebody, very, very successful sales guy. Even some of the ISAs that we've hired and stuff that were really, really good. Most of these people are coming from like door to door. Like if somebody wants to learn sales, go sell vacuums door to door.
Yeah.
Like you want to, like that is the worst of the worst, right? You want to get rejected and doors slammed in your face, but you learn from it, right? And I think that it definitely gives you an edge. I've never had to do that, which is, I wish that at some point in my career, maybe in my 20s or something, maybe I would have been forced into like, just go do this. But that fear of like going and knocking on doors or whatever. But I look at I look at my wife, for instance, like she used to do a lot of telesales, right? And so she's just gotten so good on the phone now that it's just natural for her to talk to people and just call and call and call and call. Guys like you, right? Same thing. Like you've been through that. And not that I don't have a point. I'm just saying that it's very, for people that have been through that, where it's like you're doing door-to-door sales, which is probably the toughest type of sales that you could do. It's a really unique skill set, and it really does give you an edge. So for all those marketers out there that are still trying to figure out sales, maybe just put the agency thing on hold and go out and
Dude, that's the number one advice and sorry to cut you off, but anybody because I get a lot of people that reach out to me and they say, hey, I know you have this business, I wanted to get into it, and if somebody asks me a question like that, I say, dude, go sell solar or go sell phone services, business to business. I don't really think the consumer, like the door-to-door consumer stuff, is as impactful unless you're going to go sell a consumer-based product. But like go find the hardest product to sell that you can make a lot of money. Go do it for 6 months to a year. You don't even have to be great at it. Just survive. And if you can survive, then you will. Once you go into something like this, it's just so it is so easy. You just have to be consistent. But it's like you have to build a foundation first and get those core skills. And I don't know shit about running a business, or at least I know more now. But when I started, I just knew how to not have somebody kick me out of their business. And that's why, if you can just be consistent and not fear rejection, then you'll be fine. But
did your credit card company provide you with sales training and guidance and mentorship and stuff?
Dude, the best sales training I've ever received. Yeah. So when I went to them, I had been like bartending and serving tables before that. And I had when I was 15, so I'd been in sales really my whole life is how I saw it. But when I was 15, I started, my first sales job was selling hair straighteners to women at the mall, right? So I had a little kiosk. So my job was to stop women and try
You
to
were that guy.
Dude,
I'm like always grabbing my wife. Ignore it.
Yeah.
And let me.
You have beautiful hair. You have
that
beautiful hair.
Yeah. Well, and
I
the guy,
clearly use it every day.
the guy was this Israeli guy, and he was just fearless. But he said, "Hey, talk with an accent." He like made me, and I'm a 15-year-old kid, just like dumb and just listening to everything. So I'm faking, "Oh, hello, ma'am," like just faking this guy's accent. And it
He
worked.
told you to talk with an accent?
Yes. And then when they asked me where I'm from, I'm like, here. So that was like, that only lasted like 3 months. You know, that didn't
That's actually not a bad sales tactic.
That's funny.
Talk with an accent.
You're different, right? And I think,
Yeah.
you know, it's
Well,
less
and
intimidating or
it
whatever.
opens up the door, right? For
Yeah.
conversation, right? Why
Yeah.
not?
So I did that, and then I upgraded to the cheap sunglasses, you know, and
So
from
the
there,
kiosk next door.
it was literally it was actually owned by the same people.
They're like, you're no good with the women.
Yeah,
We're gonna move you over.
Yeah, I got transferred. I'm like the cop that shot the wrong guy. You know, they just put me on a desk or something. But so I got moved over to that, and then I sold cell phone cases after that. And
That's a step up.
yeah, no, it really was, man, because it was for this company called Solaris, and they have like, they're pretty big, and it was more like kind of a corporate, well, they were a franchise, but they had like a corporate style structure. They transferred me from the location that I was working at up to a place in Portland, Oregon. And then from there, I ended up moving back to Boston. And that's kind of how I got into the credit card processing stuff after doing restaurants for a bit. But
Very cool. Cool journey.
yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. And obviously, you know, now that you've got the experience at this on the sales side of it, obviously that's a skill set that has allowed you to get to where you're at right now.
Yeah. I wouldn't be here if I knew how to, like, if I had like accounting background, I would have known way more how to run a logical business, you know, but I don't think I would have kept it alive because I couldn't keep, like, sales is the thing. That's how you bring the money in, you know, sales and marketing. It's like the number one. That's why marketers get paid so much.
Yeah. It's awesome. Awesome. Cool journey, man.
True.
Yeah. Thank you.
So you go from there to marketing. How?
Yeah, so I had a bunch of clients, like I was saying before, I had a ton of clients that were asking me, you know, hey, and this is before I jumped into real estate, you know, like, hey, you're young, do you know how to use Facebook ads? And I slowly just started testing stuff out, and to the point where I think the combination of like, I was just so done with the New England winters, and I ended up moving out here and just, you know, trying to stay alive. And I still sold credit card processing because I was a contractor. So I went from being a W-2 employee and having like, I mean, I was making good money, but to being like on my own. So no salary, no extra benefits, just like you know, just like an affiliate basically.
Yeah.
And so I was selling credit card machines and marketing, you know. So it kept me alive. And then, yeah.
That's awesome. So you move out to San Diego. What's next? How do you move forward from, I want to start a marketing business, I'm part-time in this other business, to running? And where is your agency at today, if you don't mind sharing? If you don't have to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to go into numbers, but
Yep.
we're doing good, right? Like we just upgraded offices. Can you say
client numbers? Like how many clients you're working with?
Yeah, we have a couple hundred, but our pricing structure has been, we've tested out a ton of offers, you know, so we're now getting to the point where we're kind of sailing with a lot of reoccurring stuff.
Yeah.
We were doing a lot of like short-term contracts and things like that, but yeah, no, and you know, it's crazy because Donald, the guy that you guys met, I was stuck at a certain point where I could only perform so much and fulfill so many deals. So when I hired Donald, that was like the biggest thing that I mean, if anybody is stuck at like 10 to 20,000 a month, hire your first sale or first fulfillment person, get a small office, treat it like an actual business, And I would say, what's
And
that?
we're going to get there in just a second as far as the actual business, your office, the culture, what you're doing, which I think is so cool. But, and you and I have talked, and I know where you're at, and you're killing it, right? So I'm trying to find a reference point that we can use to just provide some social proof or whatever you want to say.
All right, well, while you do that, let me give out a few shout outs here to some of the people that are watching, because they're probably waiting. So you keep thinking, Matt, with your Catch Deer hat. We got Giovanni here. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Mason is here. Bao, look at that Bao. We haven't seen him in a little while. Nice to see you. Franklin's here. Saeed is here. What is up? He's watching
my comments are broken. Okay.
But they're always broken. So let me just read these out for you.
Go for it.
Tom is here. What is up? It's nice to see Tom. Tom's really committed to Whiskey Thursday. He's always popping inside the group, asking where the link is at. So we're live inside the group, usually about 8 o'clock-ish. So let's see. Eric is here. What is up? Chris was here. Jason Scholdice is here watching. What is going on, my man, from my hometown, Ottawa? Who else we got here? We've got Yash just signed in. He says, what up, Kevin? And he says, Kevin has helped me a lot in my agency journey. So that's cool to hear. And that is it.
Is that Yash?
Welcome, everybody.
Yep.
Yash, yeah.
What up, Yash?
So you're working with a couple hundred clients currently. That should give people some indication, like things are going well. Okay. He knows what he's talking about. So I really want to dive into what you are doing differently, because I think a lot of people build a virtual agency. And I'm not saying it's wrong or right or anything like that, but you've gone another route. You've built a physical agency, a physical location agency, whatever you want to call it. Like you have an office.
Yep.
And all of the people that you hire in your agency come to that office. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, and we do have a couple VAs that do some, spreadsheet work and stuff like that, but nothing complex. So I came from a sales background, and Shayne had asked me about the sales training, and a lot of what I'm doing now is completely like I just soaked up so much game there. And one thing that I didn't say before is like the whole time that I was selling for them, so I was like addicted to learning about the business and about like because I come in this broke, drunk 20-year-old kid, and these two guys, the company's called Beacon Payments. They just sold, and I can't say for how much, but it was like fuck you money, right? And can we cuss on here or no?
Yeah, you're good. Is it like this?
No,
or
dude,
is it like this? Is it like
I
this?
can't. I probably shouldn't even know the figure, but it's a good amount. And these guys are super successful. But before that, when I remember walking in and they've got all, they got the Rollies, they got the Range Rovers, 2 houses in the city of Boston. Like, they're millionaires. They're not like filthy, like they're not billionaires or anything, but it felt like that to me at the time. I had never been around like rich people.
Money. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, these, like I before this, I thought 70,000 a year was like, you were rolling, and then I see these guys like I watched him buy $50,000 worth of Visa stock one time. And I was just like that, like just click and bought a shit ton of stock, like it just changed my perspective and made me think so much bigger. So I was always in their office, like until they would kick me out, like learning, like, hey, what, that system you just set up, like, what was that? And like, just listening and not even really intentionally doing it, just being, I think, if you had asked me then if I was an entrepreneur, I would have said no, right? I don't even know if I would have called myself a salesperson, but I think naturally I was just like so interested in learning and watching and like figuring out like, how does this work? And that kind of sort of is where my entrepreneurial journey started, right? But not to get too far off track, these guys had a nice physical office in downtown Boston, and they were really focused on culture, training, and like having an actual culture. And when you look at a lot of these tech companies that are, they have these campuses, they're so focused on like work-life balance and people just having a good time and being happy where they work. I just have seen this in a couple different situations where I was like, man, I think if I build an agency, I don't want to do it remote. Like I don't want to have VAs run my whole business. Like I want a community and I want to grow an actual like legitimate company. So, you know, when I was working at Beacon, they had like these sales meetings and they had all these dinners. We would go out and they would, you know, I feel like I'm getting a little off track, but
it's all good.
I think that's what's super important, especially when you see yourself as less of a marketing agency and more of a sales organization, right? You have to have that culture to keep people through the, you know, salespeople through the hard times and through the good times. So
that makes sense. So tell us a little bit about your office, your structure, and your culture, because that is something I found really, really interesting, and I really enjoyed it. Like just talking about it, I was like, man, I remember being in that environment, and like I loved it, right?
Yeah. I mean, I see it like if you're gonna spend, you know, 12 hours a day or 8 hours a day doing something, like it should be a fun environment. Like you shouldn't feel like a chore. So when I first started, I got a little WeWork office in downtown San Diego, and I was only there for a couple months and just like did not like it. It was way too expensive. It didn't make sense. So I was working from home, but then I got that itch to like get a physical space and start like just being around people, right? So I went to this place, which is called Novel Co-working, and I got a small private office for a really good rate. Like I just got in at the right time, and I had this crazy view, and you know, it was like $1,000 a month, but it was not much of an investment, and it was a direct place to go and work, right? So there's something about not working from home, at least for me. And you know, we upgraded from that office. Once I hired Donald, we upgraded to this corner suite that was, you know, a little bit bigger. And then we like really quickly outgrew that space. And I'm just thinking, man, like we need to really grow this company. So you want me to give you like a little tour of the office?
Are you able to?
People want a tour. Let's get a tour.
Let's see. Let's see.
I think this is the first time we've gotten a tour of an office.
Nobody's got offices.
So
yeah, if you want to see a tour of the office, hashtag tour.
Kevin's office.
Let's see it.
We'll wait for a vote. How's that?
We'll wait for a vote.
We need 3.
Tell us a little more. I gotta go get a refill. I'll be right back.
Oh my God, bring your bottle, would you? Look at this. I come prepared. What do you do?
Wait. You bring a quarter full bottle of Bacardi and you're telling me you come prepared?
A full bottle or half a bottle of wine. I started this morning. What do you expect?
Fair enough.
It's been a rough day. All right, you got a bunch of people here who want a tour. Let's wait for Matt to go get his drink since he can't come prepared. Jeez. So tell me, how was, I mean, I've always, unfortunately, I can't move to San Diego, but how's San Diego?
It's good.
Tell me
man.
a little bit. Yeah.
It's good. You know, the winters were really rough in Boston. At least, you know, the sunlight is something that impacts me a lot. So I just thought, you know, if I'm going to build this business, and I was kind of sick of being in Boston, you know, I was like, why don't I go somewhere that is really uncomfortable in terms of like, I don't have a support system.
But it's also really nice.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, paradise. And I came out here and just kind of fell into it, man. It just like, I don't know, it's kind of cool when you start listening to that intuition, like synchronicities will happen and all of a sudden you just feel like, damn, this is the right place. And it just felt like it's just right when I came out here, it just felt like that. The only thing is it's super slow paced, like in, you know, Boston, and I also stay in New York part of the year. And I'm used to like the fast paced hustle, like
before the winter comes, right?
Yeah, right. Well, even
that's the mentality, right? It's like everything happens from spring to fall, right? We don't have the luxury. I've always noticed that, like when you just like southern states and like just anywhere warm, right? It's like it's like you have naps in the middle of the day. Are you kidding? In Toronto, you have naps in the middle of the day? You guys are insane.
Which is, you know, like, I mean, I do like a piece of that. I think that there should be a balance, but, you know, it's, I don't know, San Diego is just like super relaxed, but, you know, I like to get out and go back to the East Coast for a little bit just to get
in the summers though, right?
In the fall.
In the fall.
Yeah. because I like the kind of little crisp weather, you know.
Right.
But
Boston's nice though.
Office tour,
Right? Yeah.
tour.
Yeah, we got a ton of people want to see the office. Yeah.
Trois. Is that? I don't know. Maybe that's French.
What?
So we
Joe, Trois. What is that? Trois.
I think it was probably a mistype. Anyways, we got people interested. Let's take a look at the office. I was curious after our phone call, like what this looked like, because it sounded awesome.
yeah, it's nothing crazy.
I've seen that whiteboard or that blue board on your videos.
Yeah, it gets a lot of attention. They're good. They're super like reflective though, or not reflective, but you can kind of. I mean, if you try to shoot a video on it, you really have to have your lighting right. Or else
I see myself inside of it.
yeah. So this is my office. Everybody's gone right now.
That's a damn big office.
Well, this is just It's actually it's supposed to be the conference
It's the size
room.
of my house.
So this table is a conference table, and it was under this light. But I saw it and was like, nah, nope, this is my office. I knew it right away.
That's awesome.
So in here this is Donald's office. Will you turn the light? Thank you. So this is Donald's office.
Wow, people get some nice big offices when they work for you. Are you hiring? I'll move to San Diego.
Dog friendly? Are we dog friendly? We can make this.
We are, yeah. Actually, that's one thing we had to negotiate in the lease because the building technically isn't. But so this is the video studio.
Check that out.
So it's nothing crazy. It's just like we spent I think like $2,500 or something on equipment. So we have the green screen, we have the lighting equipment, some camera gear, tripod, stuff like that, gaming computer with a TV.
Oh, so that's why Matt's so interested in this. Computer.
Somebody may have just left Micro Center today, just saying.
So that's this. We got the little mini basketball hoop.
Right. Does it get used often?
No, and I'll show you why.
Okay.
So here's the kitchen.
Those are Nerf guns.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. We kind of sometimes we'll take the whole building up and here's the lazy cow, the Christmas ornament. My girlfriend dropped this off today. She's hiding in the corner. I don't know why she's trying
I know.
That's Karina. But yeah,
everybody say hi to Karina.
Hashtag hi Karina. Hashtag his Karina. No.
So she brought that. But this is
that's why. Yeah.
Oh my God, Donald and I are on this thing. So it keeps score and does all that. So we just get on this like all the time, and we have little competitions and stuff.
Oh, you're pretty good.
And then this is where the sales floor is. So we only have one person in Southern California who is working for us in sales, and our goal in moving into this office, which we've been here for 3 weeks, not even 3 weeks, is to like fill this with salespeople and scale up. So that's
So you are hiring.
Yeah, salespeople. Yeah.
So if you're in San Diego watching Whiskey Thursday, looking for a sales job,
dude, if there's anybody in San Diego, yeah. If you think you can sell or you want to learn how to sell, come through. This is Snickers. Actually, Alejandro, one of another guy that works for us. We have another small location in San Jose where Alejandro is, and he bought that for us. But yeah, this is it. And we're right downtown. So I don't know how well you can see this, but yeah, it's a nice spot. And we got a really, really stupid good deal on it just because commercial real estate's kind of taking a shit. So yeah,
and you can see your sales floor from your office.
Yeah, which
you got a piece of glass there, right?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit.
I might have to quit, Matt. I don't know, San Diego, not sure, man.
No time for that. No, I'm just kidding.
Why don't we just partner up? You guys all move out here.
San Diego sounds fun. I know the surfing's great out there, right?
I don't surf. I jet ski like all the time, but
I know I've seen some videos of that or images or something.
Yeah, we started going to this jet ski, Karina and I started going to this jet ski place, and it's like $100 for, you know, an hour. And then I made friends with the owner, and he just ended up like starting giving us these deals because we were showing up like all the time. And now we go out and we go out for like 2 or 3 hours for the same price. And yeah, it's just, we
That's
get
cool.
a really good deal to do it. So.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about, you know, what you're doing with a physical location, because it's obviously cheaper to run it virtually.
Yeah. Yeah. But I look at it like this, like, and this comes down to the culture. So for instance, Donald and I today, we're having a conversation.
Before you go there,
yeah,
you said it comes down to the culture.
yeah, yeah.
Tell us more about that.
Well, when you're remote, right? Like when somebody in your agency, one of your employees is having a bad day, which is going to happen. Maybe they had a bad sales call. Maybe a client got pissed off at them. Maybe something's going on at home, whatever. If somebody's remote and you're only seeing them on Zoom calls, you're not going to be able to pick that up, right? And you're not going to be able to have that important conversation that will remind them of why this is a good place to work. Like, it's not just a culture, and I don't want to say family like some Keller Williams crap, but you know, like we have each other's back, and we're a team, right? And I think, like, you know, today we had Donald and I were just, there was something that, so I was like, you know, had a frustrating call, and I just like went to vent. So I just went to the basketball hoop and I'm shooting, you know, and I'm just like in my head thinking, and Donald comes out, he's like, hey, what's going on? And I'm like, oh, this client said this, you know, what do you think we should do about this? And we just bounce ideas back and forth. And Donald is like super, super smart. And if we didn't have a physical location, that conversation never would have happened. And if you think of the compound effect of little things like that, it might not seem a lot, but let's say that you not getting an office saves you $5,000 or $10,000 a month, right?
Yeah.
$5,000 or $10,000 a month isn't hard to get in reoccurring revenue, or even in just like a single one-off kind of transactions. So I just think if you can cover that small, you know, that small fee, you know, the small cost, and just build that in your overhead, but you can build a culture that people don't want to leave, and they feel not indebted to, but they feel like it's a culture, right? You don't want to leave it. And that is what happened at the company that I worked for before. The thing that almost stopped me from moving out to California was I loved those guys. Like, they were like, I mean, they raised me, right? So it's like an emotional thing. And I think that you need that in a culture, right? You look at people that work at, you know, Weebly or something like that, right? And they just have these awesome cultures where they, you know, they do it at a whole nother level, where they have like a massage therapist come in. They have, you know, I've heard of CEOs hiring a chief happiness executive officer or something, right? And like, they're not doing that for no reason. You know, I don't think it's just that they have VC funding and they're just blowing through money. I think that there's a new approach to business, and it's not this like, you know, cubicle kind of scaling operation. I think it's really
yeah, and I think there's a lot of value in being able to walk up to your coworker and share ideas, or walk up to, you know, hey, Matt today sends me a message and say, hey, I got this great idea, and I, like, you know, I blow him off because I'm busy, right?
Yeah.
That wouldn't really necessarily happen in an office, where it's like you can just walk up to the guy next to you, or your business partner, or whatever. Plus, on top of, like, I'm thinking, like, if I had, you know, if like Matt and I were working in an office, we're building up the academy and all this stuff, we had Franklin there and everybody else that was there, I could really keep an eye on Matt, you know,
Yeah.
and making sure he was coming in the office and working, not out there hunting every single day or playing video games. I'm just teasing. I'm teasing. No, but it's.
I don't like this idea.
Not working in an office. Just not in Detroit. It's actually in Detroit.
Every time I come up with an idea, Shayne's like, I'm busy right now. I'm like, all right, I'm writing this down on a piece of paper.
$500 in Detroit, get a whole building.
Wait, what's that?
$500 a month, get a whole building in Detroit.
Yeah, but you gotta have those guns on like every door, you know, just making sure.
Matt would like that. Matt would like that. But no, but it's true though, right? Like the idea of being able to walk up to your coworker, share ideas, and or just having a place to go to, right? And getting away from the home life and being able to and then focus, right? And in addition to that, like I think there's something to say where like we've noticed a lot with some of the clients that we work with, just that level of professionalism that you add to your business, right?
Yeah.
When you can say like, yeah, we get an address, we have an office, right? Or even if you're working with clients in San Diego, like San Diego is a huge market, right?
Yep.
It's like, yeah, come into the office,
Yep.
right? Come sit at the boardroom, shoot some hoops with us, talk to Donald, right? My
Yep.
girlfriend's here hiding in the closet. It's like, right? It's like but there's a lot to say about that, right? Like it's just that extra level professionalism.
We're real people.
Well,
We're
and what we've noticed from clients is they see this, and we do like that little tour that I gave you. We do that on Zoom calls and closing calls because they see like, oh, this isn't just one dude in his house, right? Like,
yeah.
This isn't a guy that is risky and is going to disappear. Like this is a hell of a commitment, right? And they see that, and they see that we're invested in the business, we're invested in them. But it adds this whole level of like realness. It's a real company, and to circle back on what you were saying about accountability, I think it goes both ways too, because you can hold your employees accountable, you can hold your sales guys accountable, you can listen in on your sales guys' calls, which is the number one reason why we got the office, is because it's really hard to build a legitimate sales. I've struggled doing it remotely, and that's actually Matt and I talked about that a couple of weeks ago, but you also hold yourself accountable, because now you have employees in here and you have to show up, right? Like physically, mentally, like I'm here, at a set time every day. Like I'm here like clockwork, and I treat this like an actual job and try to lead by example. So it holds me accountable as well, having other people watching my every move and knowing that monkey see, monkey do. Like if I start to slip up, they're going to slip up 10 times more.
Yeah. Yeah, really
and
cool.
I think that's something that a lot of people miss, right? And it's one of the things that I think is very important in your first hire, your first personal assistant, whatever it is that you end up hiring. But basically that first hire for a lot of people is also an accountability person, right? Like as soon as you hire somebody, it's like, all right, I'm making this real. I'm now committed.
Yeah.
I have to be there. Or I have to be doing the things that I say that I'm doing, because I'm not the only one counting on it anymore, right? When you say you make this all happen in person, right? You go to the physical location, like you don't just show up there and like chill.
Yeah.
Because you set the pace, you set the tone, right? Pace of the leader, pace of the pack. If you're walking in, you're like, hey, what's up? Oh man, anybody wants some bourbon in their coffee? Like
that would be me.
See, this is why we don't have it.
This is why everybody wants to work for us.
But I mean, yeah, right.
Like 10 o'clock party every day in Shayne's office. That would be me.
But
I'd be over there playing video games. I'd have the party in the office.
Playing video games in my office? What are you talking about? I would never do such a thing. Yeah.
What are you showing us? What is that?
Simulator.
The racing simulator.
It's in process. I just got
pieces.
Anyways. Wait, next week it's gonna be set. Anyways, point being, like again, pace of the leader, pace of the pack. Like you're there, you're setting the pace, you're saying, hey, here's what we're doing, here's where we're going. You're on board, or we can see that you're not.
Right. Yeah. No, and that's the thing is like, you said it best, like now you're responsible for somebody when you make your first hire. And like, I feel responsible to make sure that he gets paid, right? Like on time every week, and before I hired him, I was so like, it's so funny because I'm always telling realtors, don't be afraid to spend money. But then I'm like, I realized one day, I'm like, damn, I'm in that kind of fear and scarcity mentality. So I just said, screw it. I hired him. I was like, come on full time. I'll start you at $20 an hour and we'll go from there. And, like that was risky, but it just paid off, man. And I think like taking those commitments is super, super important. And that's why we jumped into this office, because we overextended ourselves a little bit, right? Like this was a lot of people will see this as an early jump, but we don't see it like that. We're just like, it's like buying your kids, a little bit bigger clothes, because they'll grow into them. It's that kind of a thing. And
yeah, no, I mean, we just saw your sales floor with like 14 seats and desks and one salesperson.
Yep.
So Kevin, you got to make a commitment. When that sales floor is full, I want to see a picture posted inside the group.
We'll do another video.
Yeah. I want to
We'll
see
have you
that.
guys come in. We'll fly you guys in. How's that?
Oh, well, if you're flying me in.
Flying me in.
Like that's right. I'm down. Anybody else want to be flown into San Diego? Hashtag fly me in.
Hashtag the cheap ass leads giveaway.
You're flying Spirit, but we'll pay for it.
I'm good with Spirit. It's all good. It's fine.
You get the clothes on your back, and anything else is additional.
I'll pay the $500 for the extra inch.
Right.
Yeah.
But
no. Let's talk about the business. I want to talk about the business a little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
We saw the culture. It's really, really cool. It inspires me to go out and just rent an office just for myself. Maybe hire somebody just to hang out.
Shayne, I couldn't show up there if I wanted to.
Well, that's what I mean. I'd have to hire somebody just to hang out in the office.
Canada's shut down. Michigan's shut down. That's a good question. We should dive into that. How are you dealing with COVID?
Joe wants to fly out to San Diego, so
Joe's coming with us, Kevin. We should just have a party here and just have
absolutely. Well, once I think once this whole COVID thing is over with, I think that there's some discussions and plans about doing a couple masterminds a couple times a year, and of course, some of the people that are really crushing it, like cheap ass leads, would I think it'd be a lot of fun to have you there and hang out with you guys. But let's talk about the business a little bit. Let's talk about what you're doing, if you don't mind sharing, and what's you're working with 200 clients. Like, that's not a small number. A lot of people struggle to get to 10. So I'm assuming the business name has a lot to do with it, or at the very least reveals what you're doing. Maybe not. But something else that you mentioned, or Matt mentioned, that you're doing is just, you're staying consistent with one offer.
Yeah.
Which is what's allowing you to scale. So let's talk a little bit about that and what you've done.
Sure. Yeah. So what I noticed is a lot of marketers want to charge. They always go for this $1,500 a month pricing plan, right? And for most, and maybe that's a good vetting source for a lot of agents, and like, there's a lot of people that are running with that offer and making a shit ton of money. So like, I'm not talking down on it. We're looking to deal with volume, because with more volume, you get more referrals, you have an opportunity to sell more products. So our price is $497 a month. We have a $497 setup fee, and we give them an offer to pay 3 months upfront. So we're making on average, like, if they pay for the 3 months upfront, which most of them do, we make $1,500 on a client, right? But then we have that 90 days to prove to them why they should re-up with us, right? And then we'll give them like a one-time, like a higher ticket offer to work with us for 12 months or something like that. And this is our opportunity to kind of weed out the nightmare clients, which are rare and few, but when they come, you sure want to get that, it's like cancer, like you want that cut out and gone. So yeah, I mean, in terms of our offer, it's not a lot, right? $500 a month isn't a lot, but it's easy for them to say yes to. They pay ad spend separate. We put them up on Go High Level, and then after the 90 days, we charge them $97 a month for Go High Level. And it's pretty simple. Like, we run 1 or 2 different types of ads.
Cool. Yeah, and same ads all the time for the same client, or so for every client.
Yeah, I mean, we
right?
edit obviously the photos, and
of course, yeah, but the structure of the ad is essentially, this is what we offer, this is what we do. We'll keep managing your ads over and over again. What is it that you do for upsells?
Yeah, so that's one thing that we're working on now. Now that we have this kind of offer dialed in, we're building trust, and now our clients are like really happy because we're just getting this stuff figured out, right? And we're working on a coaching program that we want to do, which is what I did before this. What? Right here. Sorry, hold on.
No, it's good. You're good.
Where's the charger?
Yeah, we have one in here. but so upsells, like the CRM is one, and oftentimes we let them pay for it in the year in advance. So, it'll be like $1,000. So now we just turned a $1,500 client into a $2,500 client, right? And then we add, coaching, or I have a course that's like how to create your own video content and stuff like that. We have little upsells that, we're not looking to deal with like these big brokers. That's not really our target demographic. I think who we go for is solo agents and small teams.
Mm-hmm. Makes a lot of sense. So for $500, you're basically just doing the ads, right?
Yeah. So how this works is they pay us typically, like almost every time they pay us $14.97. And
because they're paying for the 3 months, is that or they're?
Yeah. So it's a 3-month commitment. So our
3 months, waive the setup fee.
Exactly. Yeah. Sorry, I should have said that. Yeah. So it's $2,000 if they pay monthly, but almost no, because if somebody's going to commit to a $2,000 product in 3 months, they're probably just going to pay. They want to save that $500, right? Yeah. And we always pivot it, or frame it like, hey, just take that 500 and put it into ad spend, right? And they're like, okay, cool. So how it works is I send the contract, get the payment, and then I put them in Trello. I tag Donald. Donald sees that. He calls them. He schedules an onboarding. They go through, simple Facebook ad permissions, all that stuff. He kind of makes sure they're happy, and we'll set the expectation that, hey, this is what you expect. Here's what we're doing. And then it just goes from there. We launch 1, maybe 2 different ad types, but that's it.
Cool. No ISA services.
Well, we work with Speed to Lead, but not as often, because we notice that with our form, a lot of the leads respond to the automated campaigns. But we are thinking about getting back into the ISA stuff, just because we're seeing a drop in performance because we're filtering out a lot of the leads, but a lot of the agents aren't responding right away. And then it's like the quality goes down. So
we have a question. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Go ahead. Finish.
No, you're good. No,
okay. We have a question. Basically, it's what's your retention rate? But I guess in this situation, it'd be how many people after those 3 months re-up?
A majority of them. And sometimes we have to work out custom deals, because if they haven't closed the deal, we give them, maybe we give them a month or 2 extra, but it's like above 90%. It's really good because
wait. Above 90% of the people that sign up for 3 months are signing up again.
Yeah. And typically, and what this might mean, I don't want to paint it like they continue to pay that $497. Sometimes we'll give them an offer like $1,500 for the rest of the year, or if they stay on the CRM, right? Because we look at it, right? So how much work does it take to build out one ad?
Yeah.
Not much. Really, it takes 30 to 45 minutes to launch it, and then it's relatively hands-off. So if the leads are coming in, like we have clients that we set ads up for 6 months ago, and we haven't even touched the ads because they're still converting and they're getting deals.
Yeah. I mean, if you had to look at a year's worth of data, you're probably talking about 6 hours for one ad set, whatever.
Well, and I love the idea that
total.
You're flexible, right? I mean, you understand that it's going to cost you a lot more money to lose that client and replace it with another client than to actually give them a deal.
Well, and also if they've spent 3 months generating leads and they didn't get a deal, if they give up then they're guaranteeing no ROI, right? They're just and a lot of agents want to run like that, right? And before, like in this retention, I'm talking recent, right? As of really when I hired Donald and we got our systems in place. Before, the retention was not that high just because I could not manage that many. I mean, there was just so many moving pieces. Like it's amazing.
So sorry, what do you think is what has attributed to like the increase in your retention?
So systems, right? So having Donald being able to set the expectation. So how it works is, again, like they go into the onboarding system. But part of Donald, I think why Donald is so important is not necessarily doing the work, but keeping them. There's this lag period between when they pay and when they get set up where they're like having somewhat buyer's remorse. They're like, oh, did I make the right decision? And Donald really reaffirms them of that, but he is so good with them. Like when they have an issue and they have anything, he is on it and he genuinely cares. Yeah. So again, like I think it comes down to that culture, and he is so sold on like what we do and that we genuinely care. And I think that translates when they do business with us. Like for instance, this is crazy, right? So we're testing a seller ad for one of our clients who he hired us for some consulting, a little more advanced stuff. But we're testing a seller ad in like Lake Tahoe, Truckee, California area. So very unique market. Most people don't live there. It's a second home or a third home. And we're testing an ad. Anyways, I decided to just call one of his leads. I had a couple minutes and Don was like, hey, a lead came in, let's check it out. So I just called the lead and the guy answered, and it ended up being that client's real estate coach, a Tom Ferry coach. And he was like, oh, I was just testing out the ad and just seeing how it worked. He's like, but dude, you guys are on it. That is, dude, I am impressed. Hey, let's set up a call to talk about a referral partnership. And just like, I think when we just go that extra,
wow.
I mean, that's like a unicorn situation. Like
that's the unicorn.
Yeah, but it's so funny because the lead, when it came through, I'm like, I saw the name. I'm like, why does this name look so familiar? And when I ended up, we got on the call, he told me who he was. I looked him up on Facebook. We're mutual friends. So it's like, it's crazy. Like, how did he see the ad? You know, like he's not in the area, I don't think, you know, so it was just crazy. But when you do the right thing like that, I feel like that translates, you know, and people pick up on that.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Mason says, what type of guarantee are you guys offering at that price point?
No guarantees. And we don't want, I mean, when realtors
even for lead count?
No, we don't. I mean, we let them know what to expect, but we want this to be like, hey, we are not promising anything. Like we're trying to work with the people that are super easy to deal with. So the second somebody says, do you do a money back guarantee? They're out of our pipeline. Like 90% of the time, we're not going to work with them.
Like you actually delete them out of your pipeline? They're gone?
Not delete them, but I'm that's a red flag because when we've done deals like that in the past, they have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So they're expecting to fail and they're preparing themselves to fail, which is why when you look at their production, they're typically not performing, right?
Yeah.
And I don't mean anything about them, but like when people are afraid to spend money, it's a major red flag. And I don't mean like that, like I think that $1,500 a month is too much for a starting point traditionally. That's my personal opinion. I know people are doing it. I know you can sell it, but I think it hurts people more than it helps them because the retention on that $1,500 a month usually isn't that great. But yeah. So.
Do you think that your price point has contributed to your retention?
Yeah, because when you get on a sales call, people will say, okay, how much is it? Like pricing is usually their most main concern, right? So we try to tell them price like right off the bat, because if they get scared of the price, you know, at this offer, we know they're probably not a good fit, right?
Yeah.
And our name is people feel somewhat misled sometimes because they're like, oh, well, that's not cheap ass leads, you know, but those aren't the people we're looking to deal with. We're looking, you know, if somebody can, we ask them on the intro call, can you go 6 months without getting a return on your investment? Like, would that just put you under? And if they say anything other than maybe or absolutely, I can totally do that, then we're going to know to have that conversation saying, look, don't expect this to pay out in the first month. Like this is a long-term game, you know?
Yeah.
But then we're getting a commitment, right? We're getting them to mentally commit to that 6 months or 3 months or whatever.
Yep. No, that makes sense. And Mason also asks, at a low price point like that, how much is ad spend versus the management fee?
So ad spend's about the same, $450, $500 a month.
But with a 3 months, $1,500, which you said normally would be $2,000 if they paid month to month. So I'm guessing you're waiving some fees or you're giving them a discount, something to get them on for 3 months. Basically charging them $497 a month. And out of that $497, that's completely retainer ad spends on top. Is that right?
Yeah. So then we tell them you'll spend $9 to $15 a day, depending on their market, right? If they're in St. Louis or like, we have a client getting like 82-cent leads in Alabama. So if they're there, you don't have to spend $15 a day. But if you're in San Diego, like 15 is kind of where you want to start.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Very cool. So last minute question, guys. If anybody has any questions, this is the time to ask here. Hey, Kevin, we want to thank you for all your time today. Thanks for the tour. Can't wait to make it out to San Diego and come check out the office. I know that I'm due for a vacation. Matt just had one, hunting in a tent. I would prefer to go to San Diego and hang out with you and play with the jet skis. I don't know.
I'll take another
It's a lot
vacation.
more
I don't know
fun.
what you're talking about. I'll take another vacation. Anyways.
You don't need another vacation. You gotta get to work, Matt.
Oh, there's so much time in life. We can always work. No, but I have a question.
Oh boy.
We're on our call. I thought you mentioned something about ping pong table.
Yeah, so that's up. So we have a private office so it's in a co-working building. So
Okay.
they have a pool table and a ping pong table right above us. So Donald and I were like, we'll be like, all right, dude, let's go play ping pong. Let's blow off some steam, and we'll go up there, or we'll work from the rooftop every now and then. And we're right downtown, so it has this like incredible view. And
It's a sweet deal. You got a sweet deal.
dude, and what before, when we had our first office, it was $1,000 a month, and it was a small, really small office. But for anybody that's like just starting out or wants to kind of get out of the house, like look at co-working spaces, not WeWork, but other ones. Like there's a million of them now.
Yeah.
And they have crazy good deals right now. Like the reason why we really jumped into this is we negotiated a really good rate. So yeah.
Cool. Very cool.
Oh, that's awesome. And before we get to these questions,
No racing simulator though, right?
Not yet, but
No.
now I gotta one up you, Matt.
you know who to call if you have
Or
questions.
go-kart track or anything like that. No way.
We just picked up 3 32-inch curved monitors for this.
Oh my
So
God,
anyways,
this guy.
No, before we get to these questions, I have a question, and that's you're building a physical location during a time where physical distance is, being put.
Yeah, man. Where's your mask?
Yeah. Right here.
Right? No, but for real, like, how is that playing a role in what you're trying to build right now?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's some people, right? There's about 50% that are very, very serious about it, and 50% that just don't give a shit, right?
Yeah.
We want somebody to be right in the middle. And that's kind of where we are. Like we need to be safe about this stuff, but we also need to not completely live in fear all the time. And if you're going to go to the grocery store, you're going to go do stuff like that, and you're willing to come in, we have a lot of space. Donald is all the way over there, and we definitely get close. We stand next to each other when we're playing the mini basketball, but we're not thinking. We're thinking. What's that?
Sorry, have you found it difficult to like be hiring at a time like this? Is kind of where I'm going. Like, obviously, like what you guys are doing and in the team that you have there, and like kind of your standards, like that's each their own. They have their standard, but like hiring at a time like this, I mean, you got a lot of people that might be talented that might be staying home and not interested in even interviewing right now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, what are you guys? How are you dealing with that?
Yeah, so I'm a firm believer that if somebody's sold on the culture, and we're not looking for somebody that, look, we're not like trying to press stuff here. If I don't hire a sales guy for 6 months, that's fine. Like we can keep this afloat for a year if we need to, doing it how we're doing it. So yeah. I'm not thinking while COVID's going on, like I'm thinking to 2025 and beyond. Like like when you look at people, like we're playing the absolute long game, and that's why I never divvied from the real estate niche, even though I get that curiosity to like, hey, maybe we should go sell insurance leads. Maybe we should do, but like always coming back to the plan, so that's not even really, we're not like actively like hiring a bunch of people. I really think that the best, Bill Belichick can like get like like a target checkout guy to be a wide receiver, right? Like that kind of, if I'm at Best Buy and some guy is like, just has, you feel that like he's got that thing that you need to look for, maybe the gift and gab, whatever.
Oh yeah, he's the GM of the Patriots, right?
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about.
Yes, I mean he can take a guy like Julian Edelman, right, and turn him into an all-star. And what I'm saying is, I'm not trying to hire seasoned salespeople. Donald was working at Starbucks 3 weeks before I met him, so like, and now it's just about like finding the people, and I think when you find people that fit the culture and they have an interest in it and a passion to grow and learn and do things like that, Like, I'm not looking at resumes. I'm looking at people and what their core skills are and what their, belief system is about like what's possible for them, but also like are they moral people? They seem like good people. Donald is somebody that I can trust like a lot. And I think that's what's, again, it comes back to culture.
Very cool, man. Well, I don't care what they say about you, man. I'd come work for you.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Nah, seriously, you seem like you've got it seems like a really cool setup you've got going on, and a really interesting company. And it's been a pleasure to have you. We've got a few questions here. Why don't we run through these really, really quickly here, and then we're going to wrap this up.
Sure.
Again, Kevin, thank you so much for your time tonight. It's been a pleasure. Matt, you want to run through those really fast?
Let's do it. So your
All
clients log into Go High Level and manage their own leads, yes or no?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yep.
With automations, I assume?
Yeah. So we have, an intro campaign, and then we have a couple different campaigns that are, year-long nurtures that we wrote up on their own. So they get the lead, and we have a bunch of questions in the form, so they can, even if there's no response, put them on their own drip.
Okay.
But yeah.
Love it. What's your client acquisition cost?
Yeah, like 150, maybe a little bit more.
I love that.
Yeah.
If you had to start from 0 clients, what would you do to get back to your current number?
Sell. I think the biggest thing is like having focus, right? Being focused on your offer, who you sell to, what you sell, why you sell it, and having all those things crossed. And then, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Shayne, we had the same conversation earlier about the elite program. A lot of people need to focus, take action. It's really simple.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's not easy, but it's really simple. Tom says, if he was able to do it over again, what is one thing you would do differently?
I probably would hire somebody faster.
I love it. I've heard a couple people say that, and I always love it because it's like still that scary step.
It's
Once you know.
Yeah, I was just going to ask Kevin, how long did you go before you actually hired your first person, your first staff member?
So I hired a couple people on and off that just weren't a good fit. They were a good fit, but wrong time. Like, for instance, Sarah, do you know Sarah? Sarah worked for me for a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
She was a great fit, just bad timing, right? And things like that happen. So I definitely tried, but I didn't commit, right? I was hiring people and I wasn't sure what they were going to do. I wasn't really sure how I was paying them. It was kind of like, well, let's just kind of test it out. And, when Donald came in, that was the first time that I was like, dude, I just need to never have to run another ad again. And that's why I brought Donald on. So again, it comes, back to focus.
Yeah. Giovanni wants to know, do you upsell on ISA services?
We have it. Like if you go to our website and you check our pricing, we have 2 different upsells for that, but we don't really actively do it. Most of our clients do pretty well without it, but we're trying to always increase the numbers. And we've had a couple clients recently with ISAs and their conversion rate is just way higher. So I don't know. We're thinking about making it not mandatory, but we prefer they get on it and.
Yeah. Joe
So
Sazelle says, I know, because I've told him to hire somebody for quite a while. So anyways, what were you gonna say? Shayne,
I was just gonna say, I want to know how Kevin felt when you were like either at like GoDaddy or like Namecheap or something, and you're like, you know what? Let me think of a domain name. Hang on a sec, because I'm sure that's what you did, right? And you typed in cheapassleads.com.
Dude, it's better, man. It's better. I was literally asleep. Okay, so I live 2 blocks away from here, and I already had the office, but it was through that time, where you hit kind of a roadblock and things are good, but like you're like right there. You're getting ready to level up, but something's missing, right? So like one of those was hiring Donald or getting the office. Like there's a bunch of those kind of like milestones that you're just about to break through. And I've been having, and the guy that I used to be partnered with told me people are confused by your current offer, which was my offer before. And he said a confused prospect will never buy. And this guy is like an OG. Like he like I really look up to this guy. And I had been thinking about that for a little while. And then, one night I literally woke up in the middle of the night and was like, oh, I need 2 offers. They're low entry, and then it's like a building phase. And I just got up and I had this little tiny whiteboard on my door in my room. And I just started writing it out. And I was just like, dude, it was like this flow state, and it was like I downloaded this information. It did not feel like my idea. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But I wrote it down and then I just was like, and I just was like thinking of names and I was like cheapassleads.com. I looked on my phone. I went to Google Domains or wherever I ended up buying it. And I was like, oh, it's available, thinking for sure it wouldn't be available.
Sorry, just putting that up there while you're talking. Little
It's Whiskey Thursday.
Subliminal messaging. No. So I have one question. I'm sorry.
Real quick, just to finish that off. So I literally, it was, in the middle of the night, I literally just got my clothes on. My girlfriend's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm going to the office. I just figured it out. Bought the website, built it on Squarespace, and just like went away, built it, recorded the video. If you look at some of the videos that are on there, it's from that night. You literally see like the bags in my eyes. I'm like, hey, here's who, and I just awesome. I just built it. And then the next day we got our first customer and I was just like, I called my mentor and I was like, dude, I think I figured it out. And from there, it's just been like a series of these aha moments and these weird little bursts of intuition.
Yeah. I mean, it's very interesting. And, so I see a comment here from Giovanni. He says, I'm about to underprice everyone, so watch out. This is not about being the cheapest in the market. Right? This is about putting out an offer that's consistent and being able to scale with that, right? Like, I mean, if you were any cheaper, you probably get yourself into trouble where it's like, oh, I can't hire because it's too cheap. There's no profit margin, right?
And we're in that sweet spot where if somebody is doing business with us, they're going to have to spend $750 to $1,000 a month total. So it's like this perfect sweet spot where if we charge less, people would value it less. And if we charge, like we've tested out so many different offers and occasionally on sales calls, we'll just test a few different offers. Like we were going to do this one offer like the other day, and we've tested it a couple of times where it was $9.97 one-time fee and then $97 a month. And that's too cheap. All of a sudden you're attracting a group of people that, I had one person say yes to it. And then they were like, oh, but there's ad spend. I can't spend, I literally told them to spend $270 a month. And they were like, no, we can't do it. So I think like, just copy the pricing. Like, I'm not trying to hold on to any information. And Yash will know this, like there's millions of real estate agents. And at the end of the day, if you can sell, it doesn't matter how good your offer is. If you can't project why that offer is important, people aren't going to buy. So, your offer is great and it's super important, but you need to be able to frame it in a certain way. And like, there's a whole chemistry to this, right? Like when you look at it seems like a simple process from the outside, and it is. It's like an assembly line from start to finish, but price isn't everything. And if you pitch on price, you lose every time.
Yeah.
But Cheap Ass Leads is a catchy name.
Yeah, for sure.
Absence
it's
of
the
value.
only one I've been able to remember.
In the absence
of, that's the goal.
What's the phrase? In the absence of value, price becomes the determining factor.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, if that's what people are looking at, like you miss the mark.
And sometimes it works. I guess when I say you lose every time when you pitch price, it's not completely true. But when I look at the value, like when I look at our most valuable clients, the ones that, the 80-20 rule, right? You make 80% of your money from 20% of your people. When I look at those people, they maybe had a little bit of an issue with the price, but they saw the value in it and they were sold on us, right? And that's why, so.
Yeah, and that's sick office. That's what they're sold.
Well, yeah, and
I want to come visit you at the office, Kevin.
It's brand new, it's brand new. But the other one, the small office, which was $1,000 a month, it had this same view, which during like the when it's still sunny out, and I go live on Facebook or do something, like just that alone was social proof that we're not just some small, like we didn't just start yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Final question here. It looks like we've answered all the questions coming in, but final question here. How important is culture in a digital marketing agency, and why?
I mean, I think it depends on like what kind of agency. I can only speak for our business, you know, and I think it's what has kept us around, you know. And culture can start with one person, right? Because if you can sell a client on your culture, you're really getting them to know, like, and trust you or your brand. And we're growing to this point where like we're starting to get clients. I told you one of my sales guys has closed a couple deals, and like I have never talked to them. So they're starting to be sold on the brand and not me and my video content and my sales ability. Now it's like ingrained in the culture of the company, and that's reflecting. It's like you know, if you drop a rock into a pond, it has the ripple effect. And I think that if you start from the top and you go throughout your company, it kind of ingraining that culture and like, this is who we are. We take care of our clients. So I would say it's the most important aspect, or at least one of them.
No, I love it. I love it. And I think it's something that's really overlooked. With that, Shayne, you want to close us out?
Hey, I don't know. It's been a great episode, Kevin. It's been really nice to have you on the show tonight. Thank you so much for hanging out with us for oh my God, an hour and 40, about an hour and 40 minutes. Really appreciate it. And thank your girlfriend for being so patient, because I know she's over there hiding in the closet.
Yeah,
she's playing basketball by now.
Yeah, probably.
She's gone. She took off. She was like, I'm not waiting around. But she, you know, I'm in here super late most of the time, so she'll just kind of like hang out and like, you coming home anytime soon? Like, probably not.
No. Well, listen, Kevin, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Everybody that's watching, let us know if you've been watching the entire time. Hashtag Super Trooper. You know the drill. We want to know if you've been here since the beginning. Don't cheat, right?
Don't cheat. Don't do it. And also, Kevin,
a lot of people that cheat.
Yeah, it happens. And Kevin, if people want to hire you, let's say a real estate agent is watching this right now on YouTube or Facebook, and they should be in the Facebook group, just so you, anyways. How do they reach out to you? What's the best way?
cheapassleads.com. Fill out the form.
Awesome. Awesome. They're going to speak to you or one of your salespeople. What's that look like?
Yeah, probably one of my salespeople first. But if they want to talk to me, just find me on Facebook.
Awesome. Fantastic. And if anybody in here, the marketers, I know Yash has, you know, great things to say. Obviously, you and I had a great conversation. I think you have so much to offer. If people have questions, are you open to people reaching out with little questions or anything?
Anytime. And if you guys ever want to do like a group Q&A or something, I love doing this stuff. Like I love,
awesome.
You know, yeah. So I'm down, man.
I love it.
Well, with that, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Whiskey Thursday, another episode tonight. And next week, who do we got? We got nobody next week, right?
Thanksgiving, bro.
You guys have Jason Wardrop after me. That's
yeah.
Or no, is it Jason? Or is it? Oh, no, Thanksgiving's the week after.
We have Thanksgiving coming up, and then we have Jason Wardrop, and then we have Aaron Harris, and then I believe we have Zach, Jade's husband.
Oh, he's coming on, eh?
He's coming on. I don't know if he's the next week or the week after, but anyways, so it's like it's Kevin, it's Thanksgiving, it's Jason, it's Aaron, and then hopefully Zach. But
we are so we're off then next week.
We are off next week.
All right.
We'll see what we can do, because I'm gonna have a hard time being like offline for a whole week. You know, I did 6 days, and I was like, I've got to come back for Whiskey Thursday. So,
well, thank God you were here. Well, with that, guys, everybody that's watching, thank you so much. If you're watching from YouTube, make sure to come check us out on Facebook. We are live every Thursday at 8 p.m.-ish here for Whiskey Thursday with amazing guests like we've had tonight. Kevin, thank you so much from Cheap Ass Leads. Thanks for tuning in and coming in and sharing so much value, especially your sick office. We love the tour. Thank you so much for that. Matt, it was a pleasure hanging out with you again tonight. And Kevin, stick around here just for a couple minutes. And with that, again, thank you. We will see you in 2 weeks. Thank you, guys.